see bands play and watch all the musicians that were older because we weren't allowed to really get into clubs, but they have like stuff on Saturday afternoons where we could go and watch the older bands, that, local bands and bands that had come through town. And it would be so cool because you'd learn so much by just watching them. And it was a big thrill to go do that stuff. So I appreciate y'all being here today. Really do. It's really nice to see all you young players, musicians, and it's a good thing. Music is it's a good thing. It's a spiritual thing as well.
I'll drink to that. Water, of course.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so another question for you. What would you say your longest tour stint was? I mean, in 40 years, you must have gone out for several weeks at a time, months.
I think when I was with Smoking Joe Kubek, he's no longer with us. I love Joe, he's a brother, and look him up, great guitarist. Smoking Joe Kubek, I think we were on the road for years. We'd come back, we'd go out 6 weeks, come back for a couple of days and go back out, and it was hundreds and hundreds of miles. It wasn't anything to drive 100, 500 miles to the gig and turn around and play and, get a couple hours sleep, go drive through 400 board, blah, blah, blah. We were always gone. I don't know how Joe did it. I was married. I said, Joe, I can't do this much longer like you do. Of course, he was making a lot of money. But no, we stayed for years. Joe was on the road for, I don't know, gosh, 30 years.
Wow. I can't imagine doing that.
Me neither. Even though I feel like I am all the time,
But you're loving it. I can see you still love it. I want to ask you, how exactly did you meet Pete Lane?
I met Pete Lane back in the late 1900s. I think it was, he had a band called Dynamo Rhythm Aces with Danny Gear, Bill Wayne, and Pete Lane, that almost rhymes, doesn't it? And I was playing, my brother and I was playing bass, he was a drummer, and Eddie Martin, and he's a great blues guitar player out of Bristol. If you haven't seen Eddie play, please go see Eddie play, because he's just all his slide work, his songs, he's an original artist, plus he does, cover blues as well. But they're all he makes it his own. But he came to Texas, and Jimmy and I backed him up. He says, do you want to come to England and be my rhythm section? And we said, of course, So we came over, I guess, about 1999, 2000, and Eddie had a gig at the Womat Festival in, I forgot what town it was in, but the Dynamo Rhythm Aces were on the same bill. And my brother had a pair of pony cowboy boots that his bass player just loved. And he was swearing he was going to buy these boots off of Jimmy. And he sold them to Bill, He kind of sold them to too much. That was just my brother, How much is that? 60 pounds. Yeah, worth 30. But Bill loved them. But that's how we met. And so, because of those pony boots, really, and the Womat Festival, Eddie Martin, and been friends ever since. And I can't tell you how grateful. My good friend Ray Wally over has to say, it's a good day when your gratitude is higher than your expectations. That's a good day. And I'm so grateful to have so many dear, dear friends, family actually, family from a different mama, but still family, and just I'm so blessed and so grateful. I'm grateful to be here today with all y'all. It's really amazing.
So you like the facilities?
I think it's beautiful. I love them. Everybody's so nice, and I'm really nervous being here.
But that'd be because we're coming very soon to the close.
Oh no, I can keep going now. You got start me up.
Marvelous. Right, have there been any really negative experiences over those 40-odd years that made you contemplate giving up music, getting away from it, getting away from the industry?
It's called poverty.
Say that again?
It's called poverty. I'm just making a joke, thinking, huh? Well, no, of course, you know, just like anything. There's sometimes you go, okay, I've had enough. You play all these gigs you don't want to play, you know, and you work so hard, just like in any job. You want to, you know, get better gigs, you know, and music will take you some weird places. It would take you to the bowels of hell, you know, but but because you love what you do, you go and play. And you go, okay, and you know, I've seen everything. You know, I remember when I first started playing, I was playing with the first band I was in there. I was always playing with older guys. And we played out of this little, it was called a B Club. And it was out on Jefferson Davis Highway. And it was after hours. It was like 12 to 4 in the morning. But all these iron workers and all these really rednecks came in there. And of course, I was only like 13, 14 years old. And had long hair, and you know, and these rednecks come in there, and you know, I had one guy pick me up like this, you know, I'm gonna cut that hair right off your head, boy. And I'm just looking up at him, and the bouncer there was named Ronnie, and it's a very small place. And the drummer that I played with loved to fight as well. He just loved fighting. But anyhow, so this is true story. So he picks me up. The bouncer sees him, he goes over and goes, you better let him down. And he says something cocky to him and just bam, knocked him out and it just dropped me. You know, because he had me up like, I was real little, I was long weight about 100 pounds. And then his girlfriend came up, I don't know if y'all know what Jack Daniels bottles look like. His girlfriend came up and hit the bouncer in the head with a Jack Daniels bottle. You know, he just turned around and looked at her, picked up, you know, what kind of heavy duty whiskey bottle this went, bam, split her face right open, you know.
Oh, wow.
So that was my introduction to Jacksboro Jefferson Davis Highway back when I was just a kid. But you know, you see stuff like that, you know, and you don't want to go there. But that's, you know, you talk about Elvis, you talk about all this old guys like all the old blues guys, Robert Johnson. I mean, those joints like that, that's where you could only play sometimes. Because when you love what you do, you weren't there to, you know, hopefully witness that stuff, but you know you have to be careful. But I've always been protective because I've always played with older guys. And they always kind of watched out for me because I was just a skinny little white kid.
That's quite a harrowing story. I mean, I do talk occasionally with the students about, in the UK we call them toilet gigs.
Yes.
But it's where you can make your bread and butter, you know, make the money just to survive while you're trying to find those bigger gigs. What is the biggest venue or gig or arena that you played?
Well, probably when I was playing bass, I was playing with Joe Cubitt and some other people, but probably 50,000 people. You know, we played especially when the blues was just tearing it up all over, you know, England and Europe and Spain and everywhere. So they had the biggest blues festivals, and Joe was one of the top blues guitarists in the world. And so playing with him, it was really a window for me to be able to experience that, which I was really thankful for.
Amazing. Well, I've got two more questions on my list. One is, who is the hardest person you've ever had to work with?
Well,
because we have had a little conversation about producers and things, but who's the hardest guy you had to work with?
well, they're all different, you know. They're just all, you know, the hardest person was probably Rocky Hill, Dusty's older brother. That's the guy I was talking about earlier that I thought the best bass playing I've ever played was in his band. He was like one of those, you know, hardcore. I had a history teacher that was just brutal, you know. And but you learned more because you didn't want him to get the, you know, I'll show you type of thing. And Rocky would be so hard on you when you were playing. I mean, just in your face, screaming at you. You know, and he was a big boy too. It wasn't like he was a small boy, and he's also a boxer. You know, and so plus he was an alcoholic, and so it's like no telling what he was going to say or do. And anyhow, he'd be in your face, scream, okay, you know, get this part right. You know, and I'm just going, I thought I did. Yeah, that ain't right. You know, they're screaming at you. So you worked and worked and worked to be able to make sure that he didn't just scream at you. But I figured it out. So when we were practicing, you know, he'd be always up front, like the stage like this, and I would be playing bass, and I'd be kind of on the side, on this side, or whatever the hi-hat side it was at that time. And anyhow, he'd be playing, and Rocky was one of those artists that no matter where it was, it could be 5 people or 1 person in the room, he was going to sing and play as if it was 100,000. So anyhow, we'd be practicing, you know, and I'd be playing, you know, and stuff. And he kept you on your toes, but he'd look around, you know, and look at me, and I'd be going, yeah, yeah, you know, he'd go, yeah, boy, that's it. Just so he wouldn't scream at me and tell me that I was doing something wrong, because he would just tell you you're doing something wrong just to mess with you. But I loved him, but it made me it was playing with him was like beating a dead horse. But he taught me so much. It was the best I ever played, so I have to thank him for that. And he had great songs for at that time as well. And so, yeah, that was probably the hardest one.
Sounds like hardest, but one of the best.
One of the best. And everybody yelled at me before. It was like, yeah, you ain't no Rocky Hill. You know, so like, yeah, just go about your business, boy.
Excellent.
You know, so, excuse me. So yeah, he was great.
So, my final question here, I'm hoping there's some questions in the floor as well, but my final question was, do you actually have a favourite producer
Well,
for your kind of music?
probably Ray Wally Hubbard, even though he's his own artist and he's doing that, but you know, we look alike. Everybody goes, "Oh, you're Ray," and I go, "No, I'm not Ray," you know, and stuff. But the thing with Ray, when he produced 2 records. I went to him because I knew he